Californians voted to pass Prop 36, creating tougher penalties for some theft and drug crimes.
Former San Diego Police Chief David Nisleit joining us now. Can I still call you Chief?
Dave is good. Yeah.
Well, Dave, wow. Let's talk about this. You were on the show many times talking about your support for Prop 36 and
yes.
how Proposition 47 was in essence a failed experiment,
yes.
experiment, if you will. Obviously, you're not surprised. It's 70% of the vote wanted this. Why do you think that worked?
Yeah, I think the citizens of this state have spoken by resounding over 2/3 vote of this that they want those that commit criminal acts to be held accountable. And that's what, when I look at homelessness and the state of affairs of this state, I really look at Prop 47 10 years ago in 2014 being a really failed experiment that led to this, led to more homeless, led to more people dying on our streets, more theft, more crime, and it's long overdue that this was changed.
Can you talk us through now that the voters, this is what they want, what's going to change, what are people going to see, how are the penalties going to change?
Well, the good thing is for those that are what I want to call career thieves, those that are going into stores and stealing, it's going to hold them accountable. No longer is it going to be the threshold of $950.
So that goes away?
That goes away. You're going to look back at reinstatement of petty theft with a prior. So those that continue to steal will be held at a higher level of accountability. There's also higher penalties for those that are trafficking fentanyl, again, which is greatly needed. Because fentanyl is killing a lot of San Diegans on our streets. That should never be happening. And so you're going to see more strict penalties for theft. Mm-hmm. You're going to see more strict penalties for those that peddle fentanyl, if you will. And this is in the right move. This is 100% the right move.
Interesting, because AG Rob Bonta said that he's not surprised. He wasn't surprised at all that this passed the way it did.
Right.
But the people who were at the last couple of weeks before the election, a lot of ads started to come out saying no on 36, no on 30. Obviously, it didn't work.
Right.
But they said it's going to lead to mass incarceration. There's going to be simple drug possession, more people in jail. Is that really what's going to happen, or you don't see it that way at all? And in terms of cost, how is that going to work?
I don't see it that way. I don't think we're going back to the 3 strikes and you're out laws from the 80s.
Because they mentioned that as well. Sure.
I don't see that going to that extreme. What we're looking at is a piece of accountability. For people to change behaviors, there's got to be the carrot, meaning the rehabilitation, the resources to get you out of that lifestyle, whether you're being addicted to drugs or into theft. But if there isn't, there's got to be that stick that's going to be holding people accountable. As far as costs, I think a lot of that is still undetermined of Prop 36, but look at Prop 47, the cost of human lives lost, the quality of life issues in our cities, in neighborhoods, businesses. What are the costs of those? And so it's going to be hard to say, but I will say that the lost lives due to fentanyl, the lost businesses, the quality of life, people afraid to walk down their own streets is a much higher cost than whatever Prop 36 would be.
I feel like maybe last year was the time that we really saw those retail thefts a lot. Maybe we just have them in the news a lot.
Right.
Is that still what's happening in San Diego? Like, even though we may not see it here, is it really happening?
Yeah, you're still seeing really high retail theft. I remember about a year ago, myself and the mayor and the district attorney all met with some officials of Target down here in Mission Valley. And just in 2 stores in Mission Valley and San Diego, they had over $15 million of theft in 2 stores.
$15 million?
$15 million. Those costs are then passed on to us, the clientele that enter those stores.
Wow.
And so we need to get a grasp on theft. Those that steal, those that are committing crimes need to be held accountable. And again, this is the right move.
And the timing just worked out. The winds of change, as people were just fed up.
Yes, they were.
Because when you get 70% of anything in the state of California,
it's huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's huge. In terms of the drug court treatment program that comes along with Prop 36, 47 isn't going away. It's just kind of getting tweaked, if you will.
It's been amended, yes.
So going back to the payment of these drug court treatment programs, how are those going to work differently than what's already in place?
Well, I'm hoping that people take the drug treatment more serious, that people will take that offer, because a lot of people were not taking the offer because they saw no repercussion of not taking the offer. So I'm really hoping that people that are addicted to drugs take the offer, get the resources and the help that they need, and get out of that lifestyle. That's going to be better for everybody. So that's the amendments that I think are going to be the good change from the drug courts of previous.
Okay. It got passed again. 70% is an overwhelming vote here in California. What's next for you, by the way, Dave?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not used to seeing you in a suit.
Yes, I was distracted for
I
a
was
bit.
distracted for a moment.
Yes, no, it's life has been good. It's been about 5 months. Doing a little business here, doing a lot of travel, spending a lot of time with my wife and my grandkids.
Aw.
And life is very good.
Wonderful.
It's amazing.
Chief David Nisleit, we thank you as always. All right.